Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 560. We are live tonight. It is Wednesday, December 27th. I'm Lucas. I'm joined tonight by Catherine.
Hello, hello.
And Anna.
Good evening.
And Christian.
What up?
And Phil.
I'll try not to freeze tonight. No promises.
I mean,
It won't work.
Yeah.
It's pretty cold. A lot of people freeze in the cold, so it's okay.
It is like 40 degrees here, so I'm well above freezing, but tell that to my internet.
Like 60 here, come hang out.
I am.
That sounds great.
We're in Chicago right now because, I think it's in the 30s right now in Kansas City.
It's definitely in the 30s right now.
It's 33.
It is. It's 30. It's
Nice.
rounding here. I don't know.
You don't want to know what my weather is.
70.
No, it's
77.
It's like 60 and raining.
Oh, that's what's happening here.
There you go. Must be nice.
I prefer
was
not
just
to have the
ridiculous.
raining.
I'm fine with the rain. This is our rainy season. You get snow, we get rain.
It's been dreary raining for like 3 days now.
We had snow yesterday, but it was really useless snow.
It
There
didn't
wasn't
stick.
enough.
It was just flurries.
Yeah.
I'd
It
take
got
that.
everyone a little worried.
I would
So,
take even
so
that.
we made it to the end of the year here. This is our last show of the year.
Ooh.
I guess that's true.
So decided, maybe it's time to do a top five. And apparently Paul's in the chat, heckling, and I guess he already knows all of Christian's picks or something.
That's true. I talked to Paul for like 2 hours earlier today.
Oh, nice.
How's he doing?
It's good. He was on his way to Iowa for a visit with a friend.
Nice.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
So
I'll probably be seeing him tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
We didn't really have a crunchy crunch.
My goodness. Catherine, did you get abducted?
She
I'm
got
still
abducted and replaced with a diaper baby.
So
There was
I don't
darkness
know,
and
is there
loud
any
noises.
is there any news or discussion we want to have, or we want to just get straight into our picks here?
That's
Well,
the
this is-
news right there.
Yeah, this is news right here on the screen.
Is that one of your top five, Catherine?
No, it is not.
What
But these
is
have
that?
shipped and are now out.
It is a figure that people talked about, and then it came out and no one talked about it once it came out, and that was the Transformers Kindergarten figures.
I think I
They
totally
were-
missed this.
The little PVC figures that are various Transformers characters made into babies,
Okay.
and they were blind boxed figures that you could either buy in a case or you could buy an individual one. And you would have to import them because they weren't sold by most of our Transformers retailers. Show Z and some other places sold them. They were produced by a random company in China, but they are, I am 900% sure, they are officially licensed
They
figures.
are.
So
We
they are,
did, in
as
fact,
Christian likes
cover
to
them
say,
on
part
this
of it.
show.
We did cover them on the show. It's true. It's true. Some of you on the show were in the show when we talked about them.
Okay.
And I obtained.
totally don't remember this. Like I was.
I
at the
obtained a
show.
case of them and sent them out to the book club. So everyone in book club is now cursed with a Transformers kindergarten figure.
And it was a blind box. Although, interestingly, they come with a little card. You know how... oh, damn it, I didn't have the little card in reach. But the card was loose from the from the actual sealed figure. So, but you still had to, like, break a seal to get into the box itself.
Yeah, you only have to open the cardboard box to see who it is. You don't have to open the plastic bag.
Did that match? Was that true for yours, too? I assume you
I
opened
never
it.
opened it.
You didn't open one?
Nah, I had to open it with all my book club friends.
But they're so cute!
Yeah, what was the point? Now we're all cursed with one. See, viewers, if you would have joined book club, you would have been part of the Transformers kindergarten together.
I love my
Christian
official...
seems disappointed.
I love my
I think that's
officially licensed
horrifying.
Megatron. He comes with a creme Zeke.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
cute.
little
I will give you
fuzzy.
that. What's in his other
I don't
hand?
think his juice is anything. It's
I think
juice,
it's-
right?
A drink with a lime.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
Sounds like
And
something
a
a
straw.
kindergartner would have.
Yeah, baby Megatron is already drinking. That's not that
Explains a lot.
surprising. Yeah,
It does explain a lot.
he had a rough life. He had a rough life for a toddler.
Cursed is the right word for that, Anna. Good job.
No, this is fantastic. I already know where it's going to live. I love it. I'm glad I have it. And I think it helps that I got Megatron. I'd have been a little disappointed if I'd have gotten Bumblebee.
Paul says
Bumblebee
that
is fun, though.
Scream.
If there would have been a Kinder Scream, I would have sent it to Paul.
Like,
They're magic, but there was
one of them. I'm assuming
no.
he has
He's
to be in-
actually not. It's
What?
it's Alita 1, Bumblebee, Windblade, Optimus, Hot Rod, Megatron, and then one of the chase figures is Nemesis Prime. So it's or Shattered Glass. I think it's Shattered Glass Prime actually. I don't remember if it's Nemesis or Shattered Glass.
there is
It's
a
Prime,
Shattered Glass
but
and a
evil.
Nemesis.
Great. And then the big secret figure, the real chase figure, is Beast Wars Megatron, which is adorable. I've seen pictures of him. He is really cute.
Oh,
got
the
a
other one isn't
ducky in
Primal,
it,
it's
too.
Nemesis. Because there were two shadowed out figures. And the Megatron one was obvious, but I thought the other was just was maybe Primal. But you think it's Nemesis?
No, it's the Optimus figure repainted.
Cool.
It's a phone.
Show, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really
I'll
showing up.
Send the image.
But anyway, that was a fun thing that came out. I can't remember if they actually technically came out this year or last year, but it was a fun thing that everybody kind of missed, and I took advantage of it so I could surprise the book club with it. It was fun.
It was a hell of a surprise.
Little
'cause
little
like you
Christmas
said, Anna,
magic.
the distribution on it was very sporadic. So it was something that I remember. I thought I was on the episode when we talked about it. I know I have talked about it with other collectors, and yeah, they seem cute. They're fun. It just sort of like kind of came and went in terms of those things actually being released.
Yeah, it was weird how they kind of didn't really pop up. It's kind of like the Blocks guys, the ones that were the blind bad little model kits by Blocks. They pretty much were only distributed at the Chinese robot dealers as well. And again, they're licensed, right? So you would think they'd have a little wider of a distribution net, but they really don't. And they're actually pretty cool little kits, but very few people have them. Again, I do because I kind of like weird stuff. Surprise!
Set of those. BBTS still has them.
The Chinese market is pretty darn large, so it's not like
It
they're not getting a big chunk of people by just selling to that land.
True.
Well, and I feel like if it's China only, that it's pretty sporadic with what shows up over here.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But anywho, that was a fun little aside. We're here to talk about our favorites. Now, I have a question for you guys. Are we going to talk about our least favorites, or are we just going to talk about our favorites?
Oh, I didn't even think about
Just
least favorite.
favorites?
What was your least favorite?
Oh, no, I didn't. If we're not going to talk about them, we're not going to talk about them. It's okay.
I
That
think
could
I
be
had
a
a
whole
least
show.
favorite. Now I can't
What's
remember.
upset us this year?
What's upset us this year? Oh, do I have any of those? I don't know.
I mean, we could talk about the biggest disappointment or the biggest negative in our transforming collecting of the years. But if we don't have anything, that's a good thing, right?
Well,
I
yeah,
have both a worst figure of the year and a biggest pet peeve of the year, but anyway, that's me.
Okay, well we can go through this, Anna. Sure. Like, why don't you go ahead? What's your like biggest disappointment or worst or whatever?
Well, I'd say my biggest bummer of the year, biggest shame of the year is it's a little bit roundabout, but I do want to share it just for the hell of it because it is related to what recently came out, and that was Stepsaurus. But my biggest disappointment of the year is related to these guys. These guys are our first two mini cons that came out this year, right? They're both great, very, very good small figures. They are so much better than the Micromasters that we've been getting for years now. And it really just kind of led me to this point of disappointment, right? Because now we have these compared to our Micromasters, and we're like, ooh, these are so much better than our Micromasters. But they're mini cons, they go on a different shelf, right? Except the problem is, he doesn't go on a different shelf. Boater, that came with Devsaurus, right? He goes with the other Micromasters. And Boater kicks the ass of all the other Micromasters so hard that this was kind of a disappointment for me because it was showing that our Micromasters could have been better, right? If they all would have been made with this level of love and care, or, even if we want to go wild and say this level of love and care, we could have had like the Micromasters for our collections for the rest of time. But instead, we have Micromasters that we really like to replace. That's kind of a bummer. Not really like Micromasters aren't exactly a priority for me, right? If I never get another set of Micromasters, I'm not gonna cry. Christian will always be taunted by not being able to complete the sets. And I will be haunted by a lack of elbows and decent articulation, the fact that they pop apart. So many problems with them. And then the other side of it is every single one of these really good mini guys, right? All three of them come with an overpriced figure of a sort, right? Because, this guy is part of a 3-pack with 2 Shattered Glass figures. We can assume we're going to get Armada Wheeljack with a different repaint of it, but you still have to spend $50 on a set to get it. Jolt came with the red repaint of Hotshot, which many of us probably wouldn't really want, right? We want the normal yellow Hotshot with Jolt. I would. Many of us, Christian, not you. Not you. I just wanted the cartoon character. I just wanted a cartoon Hotshot with his Jolt friend. And that set was overpriced,
He's
right?
red in the cartoon.
Not on day one. Not in my cartoon.
Okay.
More episodes, he's yellow than red.
That's probably true.
That's probably true. That's almost certainly true.
His iconic look is being yellow.
Yeah.
So that is the toy of him I would want. But instead I have the red one. And it was an expensive set. And then this guy is part of a freaking HasLab, right?
No more boaters for you.
Right. Nobody can get a boater. So it's kind of a bummer, right? That's my biggest kind of shame or disappointment of the year. It's just like now you can have good tiny things because we know I like small figures, but they're not only are they after years of Micromasters that weren't that good, but they're also all part of expensive sets.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's
that is
it.
one thing that's disappointing. Like, they're releasing all these Armada figures, and yeah, there's not that many mini-cons coming out. And the ones, like you mentioned, are part of sets. And I would suspect that, those ones that are a lot nicer, they're probably a lot nicer because they're part of a collector set. And they're not, having to hit a price point at Walmart for $5 or whatever it is. So, I think that's pretty much the difference. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the thing that's hard about those is, like, obviously, those MicroMasters and whatever, like, they're sold for kids, and so, they try to keep them as cheap as possible, but then, yeah, then collectors is not really what we want. And kids don't know what the hell MicroMasters or Minicons are.
If you're gonna market it to kids, though, you need to make it fun. And those MicroMasters often weren't fun just because of how easily they fell apart and how much their articulation was hindered. Like a lot of them actually moved about as well as the original toys did because of the giant chunks on their arms and their hips just liking to take little vacations.
Well, that's what I'd argue. The Titans Return. What are those things called again? The little guys.
The Titan Masters?
Titan Masters?
Titan Masters, yeah. Like those honestly were like the best things. Like they were.
I love those.
Like they gave you extra heads, and the play pattern was like really fun with them, and like my kids were young at the time, and so like I don't know, it was fun being able to play with those with the Titan class figures, and those, like, it was just it was really cool. And I don't know, I think that was kind of the right way to do that, but I don't know that they're successful or not.
I thought those were really good kid toys and just a fun thing. And the fact that they were actually like triple changer target masters basically, because their vehicles turned into something that big guys could hold, and then usually two sort of vehicle modes. So that was always cool. Like they were very fully featured tiny things. Yes, they may not look amazing on your shelf, but they were fun. I like those a lot.
You had some nice homages in there too. Like you had Sweet's Play that kind of became Overbite. You had a Fangry one. You had a Ramhorn one. So you had some new versions of G1 characters that was fun to see. And yeah, even the ones that weren't new takes on an old character were fun little vehicles.
So does anyone else have a bummer of the year they want to share?
I do.
Or is everybody else going to stay positive? Thank you, Phil. Thank you for being the bearer of bad news with me.
No, and mine maybe is a hot take. I don't know. Maybe not hot take, but just different opinion than others. I did not enjoy the new updated Insecticons. I thought Bombshell especially was sort of bland. Just each one just seemed to get just a little more. They were all just disappointing in some way.
Dull.
Dull, uninspired. The insect modes were obnoxiously chunky. I don't know if this is to incorporate what we are pretty certain will be later remolds into the deluxe Insecticons. But it just, for the sentiment like a year or so ago was, hey, we're finally going to get, deluxe Insecticons. They're all going to come out in the same line. They're going to be the same matching purple. There was a lot of buzz and excitement for it, no pun intended. And then what we got was just like, okay, these, they look the part, but just not good enough. Not high enough quality toys. The deluxes they came out this year, there were much better quality figures.
I get that. I skipped them for kind of the reason of, after I got the first one, I compared that to my New Age Insecticons, and I was like, I enjoy owning these tiny New Age Insecticons more, so I don't need to complete this set. So I moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Phil, and, I really loved the Insecticons when I was a kid. I was super excited to get new versions, and they're totally solid versions. They're vastly superior to the older ones that Hasbro's released, but there's just something about them where it's just kind of boring, with it. And I don't know if like the chest could open, maybe if that would. I don't know. That probably didn't even matter too. But yeah, I agree with you, and I really wanted to put Insecticons in my top list, and I couldn't do it. It's just like these just are too boring.
Yeah. So that's my biggest gripe, I'd say, of the year is just a letdown that came from those those Insecticon figures.
It's a very valid gripe.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I would say my biggest gripe was with the Gamerverse or whatever they call them, like figures. Like that's kind of my my top, and I almost put the Gamerverse Optimus Prime in my top list. And so he was good, but the rest of the figures just do not do it for me at all. Like I got Bumblebee and Megatron, and they're not very good figures. Like I don't know, and I feel like in general, like when they're redoing some of these figures, like people are kind of complaining some of the ones where they redo a more recent figure that they're not necessarily an upgrade, and I feel like that, like outside of getting the scale a little bit better with some of these, like I just don't think they're as good as the figures that were released 10 years ago.
I think at the very least they're not as good as those were when they came out. Like those were pretty cool when they came out compared to the figures around them. Mm-hmm. And now the Gamer Series, Studio Series figures are just kind of like, they're worse than what else is out right now. They're worse than Studio Series 86. They're worse than Studio Series Movie. They're worse than Legacy. And that's kind of a bummer. It's kind of like the same thing that happens with the Cyberverse / Earthspark figures, right? Like the Cyberverse and Earthspark Deluxes are actually all good toys in a vacuum of like, here's a toy and it's good, but compared to the rest of the Transformers that are coming out right now, they fall behind. There's just something wrong with every one of them that wouldn't be if they were in Legacy. And I think the Gamer Series kind of ran into that same thing.
Well, the other thing too is like I feel like all of the Studio Series toys before it, like I almost kind of think you could think of Studio Series as Hasbro's like premium collector line, and all the figures, like I don't collect movie figures, but I've gotten those Studio Series figures and the previous movie ones, and like they're all really good. And the same thing with like all the Studio Series 86 figures. So like that's the thing that's kind of, like I almost kind of feel like, putting Studio Series on the box like is, assuming like a certain level of quality, and I don't feel like it's there.
Well, the Transformers team did admit this year that Studio Series, especially with Rise of the Best, is no longer going to be 100% screen accurate. It was funny. This past week, I got a Noah Diaz figure. I found a Noah Diaz figure, and Max was like, "Oh, are you going to get them?" And I'm like, "No, this toy looks like trash." And he takes the hold of the box, looks at it, he's like, "Yeah, more like Noah D's nuts." And I kind of lost it at that. But yeah, I mean, the Studio Series line took a bit of a step back this year, I think, both with Gamerverse and some of the Rise of the Best toys that just weren't up to the quality that we've gotten from Studio Series in the past.
Christian, did you have something that failed you this year?
Not really. The only thing I could think of the entire time you guys were talking was it was yet another year without a Studio Series 07 Frenzy, which is a crime.
Bizarre, especially with the release of Freezer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really your
similar kind of thing.
I didn't have very many disappointments this year. It was a pretty good year for collecting for me.
What about the fact that we went all the year without actually getting that Hound figure? That's kind of a disappointment.
He'll be around.
Has Hound
I think they were
actually
getting
been like leaked anywhere as far as
Other than
in
his
the
mold
listings?
existing in Wave 3 of Legacy? No.
Right, but
Who has
like,
been?
haven't we gotten like listings for like the next year out? And like, I don't remember Hound being in it.
No, but exclusive listings are a little bit more interesting than the listings we've gotten so far.
True.
And I guess
He'll come.
Hound is Studio Series 86, right? Or
I'll be right back,
we
guys.
assume.
Yes and no. However much 86 is part of what was buzzworthy and is now just going to be Target exclusives.
But I'm just thinking like a lot of the listings that we get are usually for Legacy or whatever, like whatever the mainline toy line is, and not necessarily a Studio Series, right?
That's true.
Studio Series is kind of mainline. We see them too. I think we've seen next year's and he's not in it.
Yeah.
I do
See
remember
next
that there's like
year's.
one trilogy figure in Studio Series all next year, which is not great. You know what? I did remember my biggest disappointment. That Amazon nacelle was the Cyberjet mold, or sorry, the Tetrajet mold, and not the Thrust mold. Still good.
Yeah.
Still pretty. Not accurate. I did buy it eventually on lots of
bummer.
sales, so that's fine. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in my brain because that character invented that body type, so it's like now he's wearing it. That makes sense. But like, come on, he's only been depicted with deducted fans, so do it right. Love Christian.
My disappointment of the year was so disappointing. It ended up being shared with another fan or another castmate who did not believe that it was truly as disappointing as I said it was, until she got it in hand and went, "Oh God, it's awful." Zeta Toys Superion mini version. Their downsized version of MP Superion.
You got.
And I heard great things about the full size version. Always, nice toy, and the mini
Talk to
version
me. I
sucked.
would have told you no.
And it sucked in a very weird way. All the limbs were hot garbage, but the Silverbolt from that Zeta Toys mini was the best Silverbolt I've ever had in my life. He was an amazing Silverbolt, fun, intuitive, fantastic, but the limbs were just couldn't redeem him.
Oh, one thing I
That
was
was
going
my
to ask,
experience with the
Anna,
larger one.
did you get the Magic Square Minosaur?
Catherine should be able to put it together soon.
So.
Oh wait, no, she has the Bruticus. I have the Magic Square Minosaur. Yeah, I've had that for a while.
Like, did you did you like it? Like, I was curious because
Yeah, it's excellent.
he showed up on Bobby Skullface's most disappointing list because he said all the individual figures were great, but putting it together, I guess, was like not good, and like some of the connection points were weird. You had to like shave stuff off, like to get it to work right. And
so, admittedly, because I wanted my, so this whole Minosaur thing was happening before Legacy Minosaur was a thing. So I wanted my Minosaur to be big enough so that the cars could be kind of like mini bots to go against the mini bots, the Autobot mini bots. So I got the oversized KO of Magic Square Minosaur instead of getting the official, and they fixed all the issues with it. So I've never had any of the problems because mine went together smoothly. It has good joints from the beginning because it's the fixed KO.
Okay, there you go. Okay, well that makes sense. I was trying to figure out because I figured that you would be complaining about it if
No, I love it. It's really great.
But you have the knockoff of the Magic.
But I have the knockoff. Yeah, I had the limbs for the Magic Square, and then the knockoff got announced, and I was like, I think I'm gonna just get the knockoff because it's bigger.
I'm sorry, I got it confused. Sorry. Ron in the chat corrected me. It was actually Bruticus, not Minosaur. Sorry.
Oh, it was Bruticus. Okay. A lot of people had complained about Bruticus being hard to put together.
Yeah, apparently, Catherine, I know you mentioned before that you thought my sound was low. Other people are saying the same thing.
Yeah, you sound like you're not talking into your microphone, but like, I don't know.
Sounds
Just
like
a
you
little
always
bit.
sound to me.
You sound normal to me too.
I'll be right back.
Test, test, test. I don't know if that's
Much
getting
better. That's 100% clear to me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
it was.
sorry about that. Thank you for saying something.
Mhm.
While Catherine's gone, it was funny that I thought that Superion could not be that bad. Like, I could not imagine that a nice looking in pictures, Superion could be that bad. But I actually only ended up playing with one of the limbs because it felt like the quality of the limb figure reminded me of back in the day when I brought home my first Big Lots KO combiner. You know, when Big Lots and other discount stores were selling those really cheap KO G1 combiners, like you took out the limb bots and like their arms swung around freely and they felt like utter crap. That's how I felt after playing with one of the Zeta mini aerial bots, and that was not cool. It was like, oh god, this set's like $200. Why is it so bad? Oh yeah, I got rid of that thing immediately. It had to go. Like, it was just like, I literally put it back in the package, put it up on the Facebook group to sell.
Well,
and I bet the person who bought it from me sold it.
You know, I feel like we'd had such a good run of Legends figures, right? Like, in the very beginning, they were inexpensive and, really nice. They kept increasing the quality and the price. And then now I feel like you guys are mentioning, it sounds like that there's several ones where, like, I feel like before when you got Legends figures almost, that you could just kind of guarantee that they would be pretty good. And now it seems like that it's like, all right, well, maybe I actually have to wait for the reviews before you come out with it. And,
the combiners have been iffy, I'll say. I don't think anyone has been universally happy with any of the Legends combiners. Even, like the two Devastators, right? Like, those are always on sale everywhere, the Magic Square and the New Age, and no one really likes either of them because they're so parts forming heavy, right? Like, the whole center of Devastator is parts.
I felt like back in the day, Iron Factory, their Bruticus combiner was really good, though.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a lot better than some other things. So
yeah,
it's not that hard to put together.
I mean, I guess the other thing to say too is that maybe some of the shine is worn off on that kind of stuff, right? Because like as things get better and you level up your expectations a little bit on some of that stuff that before, however many years ago you might have been okay with it, but now you're not.
And if you're collecting Legends and you're getting New Age's Dinobots, those are fantastic. Their Dinobots are just really, really good, right? And like MFT's triple changers are really, really good. There's still really good Legend stuff coming out. I think you just have to be careful buying it, like always.
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that it's like all crap now. I'm just saying that, like, I feel like before there wasn't a lot of like people just complaining. And again, maybe it was because you only had one version or a couple versions at a time of XYZ character. And now you have 5 versions of it. So you're like, oh, well,
No, I think you're right. If people critically evaluated some of those old Iron Factory and New Age figures, I think they would come back with a lot less of a smiley face than they did 4 years ago. Because they're going to be like, wait, those New Age figures, like, they showed so many parts and hinges in every mode, their first run of everybody. Or the Iron Factory figures, wow, those are pretty simple, and you had to grind pieces against each other a lot, People kind of ignored that because of how amazing it was to have little figures that were that good, but we're getting more and more little figures that are impressive. But really, we should probably get to our top before this ends up being a 7-hour show.
There we
Because
go.
I did want to talk about the biggest disappointments of the year. I think we were somewhat productive, but we should probably get to number 5.
Did you have another disappointment or worst figure, or was that it?
You know, I'm not going to talk about my worst figures. We need to move.
You know, maybe that'll be like an exclusive for the Discord, right?
Sure. Everyone's heard me rant about the thing I
That's
hated
for our
most
premium
this year.
subscribers.
Right, there you go. So
Put it behind the paywall.
Right. All right. Well, I guess should we start off with number 5? I don't know who wants to start.
Christian, who would you like to go first, Christian?
I'm moving, so whatever. Anna said let's move, and I'm ready.
Yeah,
All
Kristen,
right.
number 5.
I'm not ranking them as 5 through 1. I can't do it. I had a list of 11 this morning. I got it down to 5 that are at my top, and they're just there.
Okay.
All
One
right,
of them is
great.
Gamer Girl Optimus Prime. Pew.
The good game reverse
Lucas.
figure.
Yeah, the good game reverse figure. He's very wide, but he looks like he walked out of the game, which is really cool.
Yep.
Cool accessory. Other cool accessory. Fun transformation. He holds his arm on his butt, which is neat. And I like him. I like him a lot. Could use a little bit more paint, but a fun toy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
There you
definitely the highlight again of those gamer verse figures.
I think it looks the best. Yeah, it looks really cool.
So
Wow, you just shot through that.
There's
Yeah.
5 of us talking about 5 figures. We got to talk about 25 figures plus honorable mentions. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
no, you're right. You're right. Let's go.
all
Are we
right.
doing honorable mentions too right now, or are we saving that for later?
That'll be
think we're
before
saving
number
for later.
1. Between 2 and 1.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Typically where they go.
All right. I'll do my number 5 then. And technically, this is not my toy. Technically, this is my son's toy because
Ooh.
Paul gifted Core Legacy Nemesis Prime to my son because I don't really pick these, core figures up of the kind of mean G1 characters, so I never really messed with them. And I got this thing in my hand and was like, holy cow, this is a really good toy. I mean, for being like a $10 core toy, it can do just about the vast majority of poses that someone like the early MP can do. It doesn't have ankle tilt or anything like that, but it's a little disproportionate looking in bot mode. I'm sorry, in truck mode, but a little bit of weird kibble in the back here in his bot mode. But just for being, a 3-inch figure, that looks spitting image of Nemesis Prime, like this toy does it, fantastic job. He comes with a little teal Energon axe that my son lost at some point. It's been lost and found like a half dozen times in like the 10 months that we've had this figure. But yeah, thank you again, Paul, for giving this to my son, because this is a really, really fun, cool toy. And I gotta go make sure I bring it back up to him this evening when we're all done.
Nice.
This is a really good
That's
mold.
really neat.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
And
I
is
got
that
my
one-
younger
and-
son.
Sorry, is that
Yeah.
the same mold that's being done in the with that with the trailer that comes with Bumblebee?
And the Bumblebee,
Yes.
yeah.
That is the
and that's
same
what I was
mold.
just about to say. I got my younger son that pack for Christmas, and he's been enjoying the heck out of that. So yeah, I just like the paint job on Nemesis here a little bit better. The Prime, the trailer is a lot of fun. That Bumblebee holds back that set quite a bit, but the trailer and Prime are really, really fun.
If you want a truly forever version of that figure, it did come out as an exclusive with the Transformers fanzine this year in the clear colors. So if you got a hold of that one, that's going to be a rare Japanese exclusive figure that you could hold on to forever.
As long as it doesn't break, because it's clear plastic and small joints.
And I never have problems with clear plastic. I'm just going to pretend it's not a problem.
Yeah. But no, this was a shocker, like how good the core toys have become. I almost put this guy on my list. I just got him today, and he's just too many hollow bits in the back for Energon Megs. But another.
And I don't
good
like
toy.
him at all. That would have been fun to talk about because I don't like him.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah.
Oh, there you
I
go.
guess
Anna's biggest disappointment of the year, right?
I almost put a core class figure on mine as well because I really do enjoy this thing, but the butt stick's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, as much griping that you did about those figures, right? That they're not actually Rock Lords.
The problem was that I really wanted Rock Lords, but I also really like those. Like, I like the Rock Guy concept. It's cool. It's just, I got hyped for Rock Lords.
Yeah, I get it. So, all right, who's next?
You.
Me. Okay. All right. I am gonna go number 5. I guess I will go with Towline. So I really like the figures this year of all the. Oh, hey, look at that. Was that your number 4?
You made my list too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. I guess I could pick another one.
No,
No, it's good. It's good. Because we'll go faster that way, Lucas.
We'll go faster that way.
Yes. So anyway, Towline is great. Like, I really liked all of these figures too. I actually like the repaints a little bit better than the Junkions, just because fun colors. And it's nice to get a Towline. Axle Grease is kind of the same way. That's why I was debating between Axle Grease and Towline. So, but ultimately, brighter colors won out for me. So.
My fault was colors, and I had this kid. I had this guy when I was an actual child, and it was nice for him to come back after so long, 22 years, 23 years. So he's here. I was very happy. Yay, colors.
Yep.
Yeah, pops significantly.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Anna, do you have this guy, or do you not?
I don't. I have no versions of that, and I really wanted Axel Grace. And I made that silly mistake of waiting for a sell, and now she's nowhere. So,
really? You can't get Axle Grease?
No more Axle Greases. So
that whole wave is disappeared.
I will not be having her unless she re-earths at some point. If she reappears, then I will get a hold of her. So it was actually my number 5 was actually going to be kind of a representative of all mainline Hasbro stuff this year, just because I wanted to acknowledge that it's actually been very good, even though it's not making most of my top 5 lists. That it's been a really nice year that you can just go buy a Hasbro figure and enjoy it. But I actually was going to highlight my favorite, because we have actually got a number of girl figures this year of woman characters, and most of them haven't been really great, right? Like, they haven't been as good as they could be, especially like Strong Arm. Like, she was a huge disappointment. So I was actually going to do Shadow Striker, because I expected to hate that figure, and I ended up really liking it in hand. Like, it's a really fun toy. But because I couldn't find her, because I don't know where she went, she's not with my Cyberverse figures, and I don't know where she is. I'll find her later. But I'm just gonna irritate Christian instead and talk about Soundwave, because the Soundwave Thunder Machine is also a Hasbro figure, not really mainline, but still like a normal Hasbro toy. But gosh darn it, is this thing not great? It is so good. Like, it is a really good looking Soundwave. A lot of people have been talking about how this is quite possibly the best head sculpt for Soundwave we've ever gotten. This is a really good Soundwave head. He has his working door for tapes. He comes with the working tape. He holds the MP tapes. That's really cool. And the best thing about him, to me, is that he can turn into the Thunder Machine. You can throw the G.I. Joes away because the MP cassettes fit in him and ride in him. You can have Rumble and Frenzy driving Soundwave. And you can have the other
reason he gets to live in my collection too. Anna sold me on him for this very thing. So good.
It is so good. And like, there's other small Transformers that can ride in him too, like Micromasters could and things like that. But the fact that a lot of people own those MP cassettes because they're cool, and if you do, they can just go with him. I mean, he comes with an MP Ravage anyway, so he's obviously supposed to go with MP cassettes. It's just a really neat play feature for Soundwave to have, and it doesn't hurt that this is actually a good toy on its own too. The robot mode is still hindered by kibble, but not as bad as the first 2 G.I. Joe figures were. So he's phenomenal.
I got mine opened yesterday. I'm disappointed in it. It falls apart on me. The chest doesn't want to stay closed. The back keeps popping off. I mean, I've got the Megatron, his tank, and him and Soundwave are kind of similar. Where like you just stand them on a shelf, it's like, oh, they kind of look cool, but then as soon as you pick them up, a part's falling off.
I had no problems with any of my three. All three of them have been sturdy, fun. I play with them a lot. I love them. I don't know.
Yeah.
QC can sometimes be a mess, and I can see these being weaker to QC than other figures. There's also the issue that it's clearly a different design team that puts these together as compared to current Hasbro Transformers in general. Like, this is not the Legacy team. You're not going to get ankle tilt. You're not going to get the same kind of designs. Like, their leg transformation design is completely different than anything that comes out in Legacy. But I don't know. I love it. Subjective.
I mean, I feel like anytime you can turn a Transformer into a G.I. Joe vehicle, you got to do it, right?
No, never do it.
Well, apparently we have 2 more in the pipeline for next year, so...
Stop it. Catherine, what's yours?
Well, I feel I should give a shout out to our sponsor, Cobra Hiring, first for. I have. I am like you, Christian. I do not have a ranked 1 to 5. Everything that I am presenting today is just banger after banger after banger. There are no low shots here. This is all fantastic stuff.
I'm suspicious of you.
Oh, come on. I have amazing taste. That's all it is. And humility. Very humble. So Anna was addressing the lack of Micromasters earlier, and Dr. Wu answers that. This year, Dr. Wu exploded. I couldn't pick just one because they're all so tiny and out of focus and in Micromasters scale. Did I mention out of focus? I'm not sure what I can really do about that part, but the point is, they're amazing. Look at this. We got Ultra Magnuses in crazy colors, and I can have all the Magni I want because they take up no space at all. I can get all my Seekers in, whether I want them recognizable or who the fuck is that guy. You can get Cosmos in crazy colors you didn't even know you wanted. Why not? Because they're Dr. Wu, they're tiny, they're cute, and they have all the articulation that you ever dreamed a Micromaster scale could have. Look at that fantastic Inferno our model Anna is presenting right now. All just beautiful. Look, exactly, ankle tilt on Micromaster scale. It can be done.
This is crazy.
So that's my first showing. Back to you, Christian.
He's my number 4, by the way. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, snappy and quick, just like you asked.
I was not laughing at your figures. I was laughing at your presentation because it was so good.
I think it's interesting. Like a few years ago, that, Anna and I started that Legends journey. I think with was Inferno one of those ones, Anna?
The Magic Square Inferno. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why I think it's interesting that it's like, you got that a few years ago and you're like, I can't believe that they did so much with it being so small, and then now it's like it's even smaller.
Yeah, he's actually reachable. So that's we were talking about this years ago, right?
Thank you.
This grapple was the smallest thing ever. How could they have done grapple so small? And I was like, I can't wait for grapple to be this small with Inferno.
That's crazy.
So the next round, why don't you keep talking about Inferno since he's your number 4?
Mine was toe line. So yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
I already knocked a couple.
Inferno is so good. So good. Like, it is a very good little toy. I also got the Ultra Magnus this year. I think those were basically the 2 new molds they put out this year. And I don't like the Ultra Magnus that much. I think it's okay, but Catherine loves it, so that's cool. But the Inferno I love every Inferno because I just love this design for a robot transformer, super robot, Japanese style guy. And he's great, but this toy it transforms identical to the Legacy figure, which is really amusing to do side by side because the Legacy is, enormous compared to this thing, right? Like this is. I always have many Infernos within reach because my love for the truck. But the size difference here, right? You can tell.
So how much do those run?
Inferno's only $20.
$20.
The other
And
lovely
the
thing about
Optimus.
Dr. Wu is they're cheap. But you got to get them quick. If you want to try to get a complete collection now, be prepared to pay that lovely eBay aftermarket. That's the only place you're getting a lot of them at this point.
Or they show up on Big Bad Toy Store late. I noticed the Big Bad Toy Store has all 3 Seekers now.
Which set of 3?
The Starscream, Thundercracker, and
Okay.
Skywarp. Which they didn't have before at random. Anyway, it's great. If you ever want to try one small Dr. Wu figure, they're not expensive, so try one, give it a shot. And if you like it, then great, get more. If you mediocre it, put it with your Micromasters. It will be a fun thing to have with them, right? Because they are Micromaster size. They're about the same size as Boater here. And if you don't like it at all, you can always sell it. Or melt it.
Cool.
That's
Phil,
me,
who's
Christian.
your number for?
My sole third-party entry into my top 5, the X-Trons Bats Fioravanti, which is Overdrive here, G1 Overdrive, and this was the only Autobot carbot I had as a kid. Is my parents sent away for Overdrive for me as a kid, so I've always really enjoyed this figure, and it's just a has similarities to Trax where it can become a flight mode car, which is always fun. I have problems getting the lasers out on the front, but it's a very, very sturdy car. I used to dislike X-Transbots because I felt like the quality didn't feel as nice there, and maybe I'm conflating X-Transbot and KFC because they're kind of the same group. But this did not feel that way. So I was on the fence about getting him, and then I saw him at TFcon and under the very shiny, pretty lights that Chosen Prime has, and I was sold on this toy. And tons of great accessories. Looks great in bot mode. The head, you can kind of see in there is great looking there. Nice little chromed out with the visor a bit there, or just a shinier paint. And so just all around a really, really fun toy to have on the shelf. And, I highly, highly doubt we'll ever get an MP version of this from Hashtag.
What scale is that?
It's MP scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that Hasbro hasn't done it themselves. Like, it's kind of surprising at this point. But, who knows? Maybe down the road. But how is that? How's this transformation?
It's it's a little frustrating. Like I said, I didn't want to pop the lasers out tonight because I was having a hard time. I definitely got to find my little spudger thing or whatever to help pop some things out, because it's just that's why he's maybe a little bit lower on the list versus other figures, is that he does take some time to sit down and really go through, which a lot of MP and third party toys do. I'm not a fan of having to watch a video to help me transform a figure. I'm not like Rob or Peter where I can sit down and figure it all out on my own. Oftentimes I'll need to go to instructions, but if I have to not only just go to instructions but also a video, that's gonna knock you down a peg or so.
All
All right, so
Lucas.
My number 4 is Mr. Grimlock over here. So the G2 Tiger Stripe Grimlock. So this whole line was really great. I know Christian and I were really looking forward to the G2 line in general, like when they first announced it and everything. And it did not disappoint at all. Like, I really enjoy all of those figures. And so this one was definitely, one of the highlights for me. Just love the crazy colors on it. And the Grimlock mold, of course, is really good too. So I think in Grimlock mode, it's not as, or Dino mode or whatever, like it doesn't look quite as cool. Like I think that pops a lot more in bot mode. But
yeah,
I
Lucas,
think
for the
in
last
general,
several months. For the last several months, Lucas, you've had those on your shelf over your right shoulder, and it's been fun to just see them back there, and the colors do really stand out. So even in the little box that you're in on my screen, you can see those guys very clearly, and especially Grimlock being so much larger than the rest. Like I can see Sideswipe back there, and Mirage, and Jazz, but Grimlock definitely steals the show.
Yep. What were you saying, Anna?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think in general the leader class Dinobots have really, really great bot modes, and that's just what's been noteworthy for those figures for me has been that I've always felt like every Dinobot toy I get, the bot mode doesn't do it justice to what I saw on the screen, and these figures finally do those bot modes justice. Now, we usually see the Dinobots in dinosaur mode, so it feels like that is kind of the more important mode, but these ones really hit the robot mode, so it's cool. That was it. All right, Catherine, number 4.
Oh, damn it. I thought you were going to... I didn't have my little lights turned back on. They're little dollhouse lights, so the batteries will burn out if I leave them lingering on. Sorry. So I'll just go right to it. Now, I think earlier you guys were saying something about Bobby Skullface didn't like this guy, and I'm not familiar with his work, but he's wrong. This is fantastic. This Bruticus is lovely. Every one of them individually is a masterpiece. They look absolutely perfect, animation's accurate in every way in both vehicle and robot mode. Yeah, he's a little parts for me for Bruticus, but I'm okay with that for how pristine the other two modes are. I'm okay with the chest piece being a separate thing and the hips and the waist being fine. That's fine. It's a valid sacrifice for how gorgeous this guy is. So the earlier statement that Legends figures aren't good, or Legends combiners aren't good yet, so very wrong. This is a clear example of, dare I say, Transformers art.
It really is good. Like the look is great.
I love the pose on that one.
Thank you. He poses very well. I mean, he's
very sassy Bruticus.
Honestly, I haven't had enough time to play with him yet, so this was very half-assed because I just got the rest of him yesterday.
He very much looks like an animation cell in 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want from your toys.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about their Minosaur. Like, I feel like he just looks like the screen. If you want him to. The Minosaur, much like the Legacy one, it's like you can display it to look more like the animation or not, depending on how you want to do the cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe with that, we can move on to Christian's number 3.
3. All right, so I was going to save this one for number 1, but since Lucas talked about this line, it's Toxitron. You can tell how much I really like this Toxitron because of how much stuff I've done to him. Got Reaper labels, he's got the DNA kit, he's got a render form sword and gun. I love this toy. I love this toy so much.
Clearly,
the colors are
out.
Yeah. I went a little insane because of how much I love this toy.
It looks neat like that, though.
Yeah. Got a ton of cannons.
Yeah, that definitely does look cool like that.
Yeah. I was like, wait, did I miss a page in the instructions? Can mine do that? Like, oh, wait,
right.
are add-on kits.
It cannot, but with a bunch of stickers and a bunch of upgrade kits, you can. But yeah, the colors on this were fantastic. I still really like this mold, even though it's not a this year mold. I've just been really impressed with this figure. I put it in the display case for about a week at a time and have to take it out and just like mess around because I love messing with them so much. And I guess that's for me, the hallmark of a really great figure. So really, if I had to pick, it's probably number one. But since Lucas wanted to talk about Grimlock, I wanted to talk about Takatron. I love this so much.
It looks great upgraded like that. Like that really makes it cool. And I think the big gun arm things actually kind of hide how tiny his lower arms are. So that's my biggest problem with the figure is just his really skinny arms. But I think that really kind of fixes it.
It looks really good. Really,
I also
really
put
good.
secret wrecker symbols on it because I like him as a weirdo wrecker guy. So that that's a sweet spot for me. So here he is.
That's definitely a figure that with each new paint job they did, I liked the toy even more.
Please, please, please laser mag this next year. Please.
I would definitely take it, sure.
So
Please.
my number three, I could not find her weapon, which I think is one of the coolest parts about her. So I'm sad that I couldn't find it. It's in a bin somewhere. I know I still have it, but Javelin from the 2-pack. I mean, there's so many updated toys this year, like new paint jobs, new paint schemes. You'll see that with one of my honorable mentions. This was a toy that had one mold previously, which was the RC Studio Series from the B movie. So we haven't seen this mold a ton. And my biggest complaint about that mold was the head was sort of weird and kind of weird robotic-y. And they just, and then they gave Javelin this just badass face or lack of face, whatever that head is, that helmet. They made her, she's a sniper with an awesome weapon. And so this is just a great toy. It's a cool alt mode that kind of Tron bike looking motorcycle. So I love how like these, I don't know if they're intentionally articulated, just gives her so many like kind of posing capabilities to make it look like she's just hovering up in the air like a quarter mile up in the sky, sniping off the Senticons from the near stratosphere. So yeah, the very, very cool toy. The color selection is great. I've got no attachment to the fiction that she comes from. So that's just another thing that this toy, like the first time I really saw this character was with the pictures of that toy, and I was like, yep, this is cool. And it came out to be as good as she looked in the picture. So I'm very, very, very pleased to have her.
I really like that the rifle is modeled after Voss.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
She was on my list too, so there you go. Stop copying me, guys.
Sorry.
It's impressive. That's a really cool remold.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting someone to talk about the various commanders we got this year, so I picked something I thought would be more obscure.
And then this one too, right?
Yeah,
that's Anna's favorite.
This is, you love this mold, don't you, Anna?
I do. I love it so much. I like those colors. She has a good head.
Yeah.
If I'm stuck with one of that mold, she's definitely fine to be the one I'm stuck with.
All right, so I guess this is my number 3. So for my number 3, it's actually a pretty new figure, but this is from Wave 1 of Legacy United.
Cheating.
Universe.
Whoa! Universe, whatever the hell it's called.
It is actually called
University,
United. I don't know who corrected him. Incorrect.
I meant to say University, and I stumbled over myself.
I know,
Oh,
right?
well, that's definitely correct.
Yeah.
University is the right name.
Man. That's cheating.
Look, the figures have come out, so if I didn't pick them this year, then like next year you're going to be like, wait, you got them in 2023.
Go ahead.
Anyway, it's Bumblebee. And like when I saw the pictures of Bumblebee, like I was like, like I was kind of on the fence. I wasn't really sure, right? Like it seemed like it was, like kind of, I don't know, not the same as like the one that we got, but this guy is so awesome. Like he's such a little dude. The face just has so much personality to it. And and the figure in general, and then he changes into like a little penny racer. It's like one of the smaller bumblebees that Hasbro's made, and I don't know, it just like has like, and he, you know, he doesn't have a lot of gaps, like he like fits together like really good. And I don't know, he's a really good figure. Like I think that these animated figures, like I guess you know, Prime is kind of the same way, where, you know, like I think that these have actually turned out really really well, and then Prowl as well. So
That's cool.
that's
That might
number
actually
3.
sell me on that figure. Like I've been collecting Bumblebee recently, and I wasn't going to get that one because I have an animated Bumblebee I like, and I think I'll always like that one better. But that does look cool. It's good.
Yeah, he's one of
Bumblebee.
my like favorite Bumblebees, to be honest, of like Hasbro. So
The pictures didn't really sell me on it, but word of mouth, including your notes around here, Lucas, have definitely gotten high on my list to looking forward to pick up in the new year.
yeah, like I said, in hand, it's one of those ones where I didn't think, seeing the pictures or whatever, that I would like it that much, but in hand, and I think Orson said the same thing too, that he had made a post on Facebook where he's like, this guy's, you know, a fantastic little dude. So yep.
Very cool.
All right, number 3. All right, so my number 3 is like we get into the point where everything in my top 3 is almost equally ranked because I absolutely adore all 3 of my top 3. So the first is going to be, I was very happy to see that this did come out this year because I had to check the MMC's Rewind and the Eject too. It also ended up coming out this year, and I just don't feel like rolling over to grab it. But good grief, like after that Steel Jaw they put out last year, right? I lost all my faith in MMC's tapes. I was like, oh no, I said I was going to collect all of these, and now the Steel Jaw was poop, and now I'm going to be stuck collecting the rest of them. Oh no. And then this guy came out at LA this year, at TFcon LA, and I got it sent to me by my dear friends who went to the con. And it is so good. Like, this thing takes like 45 seconds to turn into a tape, and it turns into a perfect full-size cassette tape, right? Like, it's probably not 45 seconds, probably 2 minutes, but it's not hard to transform at all, right? The Steel Jaw is nearly impossible to transform without snapping parts off. It's so infuriating. But this one transforms smoothly and nicely. It has metal in its legs to hold up well. You can store the guns inside of it when it transforms, so you don't have to worry about losing them like you would with the G1 toy. It's cool. Like, I really love these 2. And it comes with 5 faces. Like, he gets to have a yelling face. When do you expect a G1 Rewind or Eject to have a screaming face, right? You don't. They never get cool faces, or it's just like they're those generic guys.
It usually only
Like,
comes when they hang with Overlord.
Yes. But yeah, I'm very excited about these 2. Both of them are very good. I'm hopeful that, you know, the rest of the line, they're as far as articulation, they're not quite as good as the Rumble and Frenzy were, just because they don't have any sort of ankle tilt, but the transformation's easier, so you can play with it more. So I honestly think it's a decent sacrifice. You know, he's still an impressive little MP scale, MP quality figure. Yeah, that's it. That's number 3 for me.
So far, I haven't actually shown off a single figure. Actually, you know, the first was a pile of Dr. Wu, and a combiner is kind of a single figure, but it's 5 guys. It's totally 5 guys. And I am not about to change that pattern now. But at least this time I'm going with the MP crowd, like following Anna's tape lead. But this is an actual, these are MP scale toys, technically. These are Fans Toys Robot Paradise, I believe.
They called it Robot Paradise.
For some reason, a 3-pack with an amazing Steel Jaw, an absolutely fantastic ram horde, and eject that I shipped off to the toy farm upstate because his head was stupid. But these guys, we have for age, like Takara denied us. They never gave us a good steel jaw and ram horn. Not a good one. KFC, bless their sparks, they tried. They tried so hard to give us yeah. I'm sorry, Phil. He has a stupid head.
I like him.
Here he is. I found him.
Yeah.
Yes,
the
you're
farm.
the robot farm upstate. You're like a toy retirement home.
It's okay though, because Catherine's wrong this time. Like, this is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them are great.
Fans Toys is doing an amazing job with their beasts, but I do not approve of their Decepticon or Autobot robot figures. They're just not. They're not working for me. But yeah, if you're finally waiting for these guys, so that's my number 3. Oh man,
I'm really looking forward to their Slugfest and Overkill.
Yes, I'm getting those as well.
Yeah.
Christian?
So this would be my number 2, which was Javelin or Toe Line, but I got preempted. So since no one said it yet, I didn't bring him down, but Armada Prime. That toy's incredible. What an amazing update to the original figure. It can move now. It can combine really well. It has such a shelf presence. I don't have any complaints about that toy at all. I love him so much. What a great commander. I want to show him, but I thought for sure someone else would have him, so he's like this tall. Here.
I never actually
He looks
got
so cool.
Armada Prime. I know, right? Like, I don't know. I just I don't have nostalgia for it, and so I was like, well, like, should I really get it?
Yes.
And then it sold out for a while. I don't know if
It keeps
sold
coming
out.
back. Keep watching.
So.
Yeah, definitely worth it. For sure. And you'll, of course, want to combine them with Overload and Jetfire when they exist. So better get in now.
All right.
Do it. Yes,
There
as
you
Phil
go.
said, he does not
Slowly-
come with Spark Plug.
I feel like slowly but surely you guys are like talking me into all these figures, like the Rock guys. I was like, I'm not gonna like get those, and then you talked me into them, so I was like, I'm getting those. Somehow our Armada, like, I still don't have the Armada Megatron yet, which I know you're kind of iffy on. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not as good. Pretty clear. I opened him on the same day as Prime, which is amazing. So that was
Right.
Megatron was never going to live up. But he will combine with next year's Tidal Wave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tidal Wave should be orderable here in a couple weeks, right?
On the 16th.
That's the word.
I just grabbed Armada Megs with that 30% off Transformers sale that Target had, specifically because of the Tidal Wave and to do the combination mode.
Must be cool to find toys at your Target. Must be nice.
Yes, it is.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, Armada Prime is mine. Phil, what's your number 2?
Oh, this should be no surprise to anyone who's followed along with the show over the year, and that is our Rise of the Beast 3-pack Air Razor. Just an outstanding toy. I love her colors. I love her. I didn't even see it for maybe can't even see it now, unfortunately. She's got a maximal symbol and just a slightly like more of a gold on her chest, on her crest than the brown that's on there. I love the transformation of her. This was by far and above worth getting the 3-pack to just have this figure. I mean, I guess she's kind of come out individually packed, maybe in Europe. Not so much hit here in the US, but just an awesome toy. Superseded by only my number 1, which will probably not be surprised to other folks. But yeah, she's an awesome figure, and I've been recommending people grab her for I don't know, six months now. So yeah.
Did.
And why isn't she on your list? Okay.
She didn't make my list, but I do like her.
I think my only issue with her is I just kind of wish she had like a waist swivel. That would help with just some some posing a little bit, but yeah, I mean, fun figure in both modes and fun to transform as well.
So I guess we figured out why Phil has stock at his local Target. It's because Paul moved across town, so he's no longer close to him. So he's not taking all the toys out of the Target.
Yeah, I mean, Paul didn't even live close to me. He just had like 100-mile shopping radius that I'm now out of.
Hey, Lucas, number 2.
All right, number 2. So my number 2 is definitely a mini masterpiece, which is Ultra Magnus here. I mean, this is better than the masterpiece. I'm sorry, it is.
Where does the mini part come in?
It's not really mini, but we call it mini masterpiece because whatever, whenever we say mainline or whatever. But anyway, this is a really good Commander class figure. You know, we finally have a good mainline Ultra Magnus. Like, I guess Combiner Wars was really good, but it just doesn't have the articulation. The last one that was the leader class and all that was fine, I guess, but like this is effectively the masterpiece toy, except for it has more articulation. So
yeah, I wish I could get past those shoulders. Like if I could get past those shoulder flapjack stacks, I could go ahead and get it, but I just can't get past them.
It's fine.
They are better in person. Like even Lucas is showing it and it looks not good, but then I can go upstairs and look at mine and it's fine. It's not great, but it's better.
I might, if there's ever a chance to get it on a small cell, I might go ahead and grab one, just because I used to collect Magnuses and I kind of stopped just because I ended up with too many Magnuses I didn't like, but I don't think I'd hate that.
If you pose him even slightly, the shoulders are not really
are gone.
A factor anymore. Yeah, it's like pose him like, look, I'm straight on now. Pose me from an angle. It's like, okay, now it's fine.
See, look, shoulders can't, you know.
Do a 1/4 turn.
On.
There you go. That's good.
So, but yeah, he's really good though. I think this Commander class has really been really good. Just in general, I don't think that there's been like a huge stinker with any of them. So
I'm glad Commander is the place for them to show off. Like that makes me very happy that that's what it's being used for. I feel like Rodimus was the closest to a misstep in Commander, right, just because he has that big old hollow trailer that does what it's supposed to, but what it's supposed to do isn't very much. So yeah, that one's the only one that's a slight misstep. But and also just because that amazing Hot Rod figure came out right before, and it's like comparing the Rodimus to the Hot Rod, it's like, ooh, the Hot Rod is better. The Rodimus makes sense with it, but otherwise the Commanders have just been really cool. I think they've been getting to show off.
I've always been a bit disappointed in how Skylynx's wings peg in his bird or dragon mode. But once you kind of get that going, he looks great. But yeah, the Commander class has been a very, very reliable class since they started that.
As they're saying in the chat that Ultra Magnus should have big shoulders, so I agree.
He should have big shoulders, but he shouldn't have these things between his shoulders and his chest. He shouldn't have these like extender stack piles.
He came out in the shoulder pad era.
True.
Yeah,
the shoulder pads are different, but anyway, I'm not going to argue it because.
Wait, are we talking women's clothing shoulder pads or Rob Liefeld art shoulder pads?
Women's clothing.
Sure.
Okay.
Ultra Magnus is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
That's right. All right. Number 2.
What you got?
Also not going to surprise anyone who watches the show or listens to me talk. This has been... Huh?
Calculation King.
have been updating calculation kiki about this year, and be number one is gonna be Sans Hobby Buster, because this has been a hell of a year for Fans Hobby, right? Buster is representing both Buster and Clouder, right? Because I really love Clouder as well this year, but I didn't want to have both of them on the list because then it would just be full of Fans Hobby stuff, and I haven't gotten Hydra yet to go with them. So this is so good. Like, if I know when I first got it, me and Rob were on the show together, and I was like, this is really accurate to the cartoon. And Rob was like, no, it's not. Rob's wrong. This is really accurate to the cartoon. This is what they look like, and it's so cool. And just the way he can pose in ways that actually look like the things the character did in the show is just so neat. Like, it's so cool. I've kind of come to terms with the fact that Master Force this year, after we watched it in book club, is probably my favorite Transformers animation. So having a figure this good of one of the characters, he's not one of the mainest characters. He's pretty featured. But yeah, it's just such a great toy. It poses good. It transforms easily. It's not hard to transform. Neither is Clouder, as long as you don't put him in his bird mode. His bird mode is a pain in the butt to get to, but between truck and robot, it's not so bad. But anyway, just a really impressive toy. I'm really excited for Hydra so that they can hang out together and be the infamous evil brothers that they are. I kind of wish they would redo their power base or whatever, their Jinrai, because he's kind of doesn't hold up great. Like, they pose great together. If you pose them fighting and whatnot, they look really cool together. But this is just, this year's toy, and that was 6 years ago's toy. So there's a bit of a distance. Yeah, I love this thing. I play with it very frequently. It's very good. Highly recommend a version of it to just about anybody who likes giant figures. Never forget how big Fans Hobby toys are. They are absolutely enormous. I'm trying to find a normal sized toy to pose them with.
Must be a side swipe nearby.
Right?
No,
I don't want to. I did?
Yeah. Or no, maybe I was holding Cascade.
No, I didn't. I didn't have it.
Lucas had Cascade.
Yeah. I just have Inferno truck mode. Anyway, that's not big. A good size comparison. Yeah. Hell, I'll give away my honorable mention just because people know how big Jazz is. So, he's a really, really big toy. And as long as you like big toys and you like them impressive, both him and Clouder, and I'm sure Hydra will too, are just great figures. There we go.
Well, you know who else had a big and impressive year? My next selection. Move the camera, one more time.
Always rattle camera.
Predaking had a big year this year. Can't fit everybody in there because one of them's a little big. Kang Toys Predacons. Another phenomenal combiner. We got 2 of the minis this year. The last 2 just shipped from Show Z, or just charged and shipped from Show Z in this last couple of weeks. One of them like 2 weeks ago, the last one this morning. So we'll finally finish the last of the mini Predaking. And all of these guys are just so fantastic. There is not a flawed one among them. The big and the small are both brilliant, unique, individual. There's no shortage of good things to say about these amazing figures. If you love Predacons, and I assume you do because you love Transformers, then you need these toys. There are no comparable good Predacons out there at all. Yes, Caleb, I am 5 for 5 third party, and we still haven't hit the first slot.
So,
So that would be my number 2.
now, do you think that once you get all the minifigures in, are you going to sell your bigger versions, or do you think you're going to keep them both?
Yes, eventually that is the plan.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an MP collector. They're so beautiful. I had to own them, but I'm a renter. I don't keep much for the long term, anyways. However, the minis, they're staying forever. This is my final perfect Predaking. All the other combiners are inferior.
Yeah, I really want to see that. Like the mini one, once you get in those like final figures, to kind of see and compare, because like the the bigger ones, are very big and very expensive, and so it's like by the time you get the whole set, like it's kind of prohibitively expensive and takes up a ton of space.
Big. They're very big.
Yeah.
Big.
But
the mini
yeah, like
set
the
is
mini
not
ones look
that
really
cheap
cool.
either.
Oh, really?
If you think about it, they're 45 each, so
Yeah. Yeah, that's
6
not
times
horrible.
45 is.
Yeah, that's fine for Legends.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
but aren't they a little bit bigger than Legends? Aren't they
They
closer to
are.
the deluxe size
They're
toy?
big Legends figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like as big as the leader type characters usually are in Legends. So they're big Legends figures.
And that takes us back to Christian for the number 1.
Are we
Before we do
doing
number 1, I want to do an honorable mentions round.
Sure.
mention first?
So for me, it is anything that Transart has put out this year. I picked up RC, Tarantulas, Transmetal 2 Cheetor, Transmetal 2 Ravage. They're all great. They're all basically just the original figures, just nicer with better paint and more articulation, but it's still the transformations I remember from being a kid. And that's really my sweet spot, I found. I'm really mostly out of third party these days, but those guys still have my heart, and I'm looking forward to Quick Strike next year and hopefully an announcement of Depth Charge and Rampage soon.
Ooh.
Please.
I gotta get their tarantulas. I gotta get
the
it.
names of the mini Predakings or whatever Predacons again?
Cane Toys?
Is it King Toys?
Gang Toys.
Okay.
Yeah. CANG.
I somewhat suspect I'm going to end up with Transart's Transmetal Megatron too. They've issued it again, and it's there, and it's like, God, I love that design. I think he's going to have to come home with me.
I mean, a flying T-Rex, what's not to love?
He's got roller skates, man. A flying T-Rex on roller skates.
Dope.
Made of metal.
With a cap.
VTOL fans.
My honorable mentions, 2 figures that almost made my top 5. We have got Legacy Bludgeon. I really dislike this mold for Tarn. Bludgeon, I think, makes up for it so much more. I love his colors. I think he would have been in my top 5 if the vehicle mode wasn't like meh. But yeah, very good toy. And another one that I wish could have been in my top 5 is Nightshade here. And this is a great figure. The only reason that they are not in my top 5 is again what Anna mentioned at the start of the show, is that the Cyberverse, I'm sorry, not Cyberverse, previously Cyberverse and now Earthspark, these toys just don't get the love that they should in terms of the quality. So Nightshade here, they're a little bit hollow, but the face isn't quite as great as I'd like it in robot mode, but the owl mode is really, really fun and cool to mess around with.
There's no way to put away those wings in the bot mode, which is a bit of a bummer.
Bot mode? Yeah, no, they just fall
Yeah,
around.
just as fairy wings in bot mode.
I like how their wings just kind of sit there like this in owl mode.
The owl mode is really fun.
Yeah. I tend to leave them in owl mode just because it's just, I don't know, it's unique. You don't have a lot of owl alt modes out there. There's a few, but they're few and far between.
Okay, I found them. I thought I lost them along with.
Yeah.
I found them.
And I do enjoy anytime you get weapon storage in a figure is always a good time.
Yeah, my honorable mention was going to be Bludgeon as well. So everything that Phil said is everything that I agree with. Like, that's pretty much what I was going to say too, that the Tarn disappointed me. I think that if I didn't have the MMC Tarn, I probably would have been super excited. But as it is, like, this bludgeon's really cool. So
Mhm.
My honorable mention is the G2 capsule that you all have really loved. I did really enjoy opening these figures and getting them and messing with them, especially this orange ass goofy jazz. It's just that none of them are molds that would have made my top 5 list if they weren't painted ridiculously. So, it's more that what I really love is the paint jobs, not the molds. The molds are good. They're just not top 5 level. But yeah, I enjoy it. And I'm never going to get rid of this thing, right? It is so orange and orange. It is 2 oranges. It is just orange everywhere. And it's just so goofy. I do like it. But yeah,
I think we should just change his name instead of G2 Jazz. Just call him Safety Cone.
Safety Jazz.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my proposal for the number 1. Wait, did Catherine get an honorable mention? No, you
do you have
didn't.
an honorable mention, Catherine?
I did not prep an honorable mention, so I'm going to go with the Dreadnought Thunder Machine because Hail Cobra.
That works. All right, so my proposal is that we go Christian, Catherine, and then my hypothesis is that there's no variance to the other 3 of us.
Ah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
Really?
Phil, Lucas, and I can just go together if I'm right.
Yeah.
Am I right, Phil?
I'm assuming so.
Okay, got it. So Christian, Catherine,
On my
then the
side,
3 of us.
I
That's
might
right.
totally be matching.
Yeah, sure. Since you just said you were 5 for 5 third party.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I really like medics this year. What a cool figure. The colors are amazing. All the mold improvements are amazing because it uses the best of skids and the best of crankcase. And just look at this green. Look at the orange. Look at the white. Look at that head sculpt. Incredible. What an incredible dude.
And look
I
at those
paid far too
2
much for this.
burning target masters.
Yes, those did not originally come with him, but he came with 4 other accessories. There's his bumper/gun. He's got 2 guns on his shoulder here. He's got another one. He's got 2 different clear plastic accessories. What an incredible dude. And then I put even more clear target masters on him because I'm a crazy person. I paid far too much because I was convinced he wasn't coming out in the United States, and then mine arrived, and a week later he went up on Pulse. So you're welcome. And I don't regret it because I love him a lot.
Good.
I enjoy Ron's comments. So many blasters for a healer.
Right?
It's funny.
And I gave him more. And a big sword thing. And if NoNef does a redeco of their crankcase cannons for this in white or green or orange, I'm going to get them. It's going to have even more. It's going to be great. I'm very excited to just make it happen.
Christian, when we're done, I got to tell you my crankcase story.
Okay. Did you buy the cannons like I said you should?
Not yet, no.
Whoop, whoop. They're coming for whoever that was.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Because you didn't pick a Hasbro figure. What did you pick for your number 1?
Oh, all right. Well, remember, no ranking. They're all equally phenomenal figures.
Yes. You and I, same page here.
So for my final pick, I decided to break the theme of, well, group shots and an actual individual, just one robot. I would like to present to you my final pick of HasLab Samurai Grimlock. Or Iron Factory, one of those 2. I forget who makes him, but he's adorable.
Badass
I don't know
toy.
what that is.
Iron Factory Samurai Grimlock.
Okay.
He's
Yeah, Iron Factory started doing their own thing, making samurai style figures. So, they did the kind of War Within mixed with G1 look for years. And then they said, let's make samurai versions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're awesome. The Bonsai-tron I got from them is just mind-blowingly good. And it just, after that, I've been buying like the choice ones, not all of them, just the ones that appeal. And this Grimlock has been just epic. I happen to have him in dino mode right now because I was puttering with him the other day. But he's so pretty in both modes. So wonderful.
Celebrating Christmas too.
You owe it to yourself to get to have some of these like amazing variety figures. And so, if you like Grimlock, I mean, obviously you like him as a samurai. My only disappointment with this figure is that I'm selling him to my friend because I'm going to buy him again in shattered glass colors.
Kevin, are those flags or guns off his hips there?
Those are his swords.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, that didn't come out as smoothly as I would have liked, but yes, they're cleavers that combine into one bigger sword.
Very cool.
Cool.
That whole samurai flag look, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if they were meant to be like, that banner, flag looking thing, or if they were cannons that rotated down.
So did that match anyone else's top or final pick?
No, but that's a
spoil.
Like I said, a badass toy.
Cool looking figure though.
That's
and it's
another one I've
definitely
shown off on the show before, but for best of the year.
It's another one of those big legends too. It's like it's a Legends class figure, but it's as big. It's like a deluxe. So it's like it's small, but only small compared to other Grimlock toys.
So now it's you guys. What three simultaneous presentation could you possibly have?
Jeez, I wonder.
What?
Oh.
There it is.
Oh, am I supposed to hold up this guy? Okay, all right. I guess if I need to hold up this guy.
I was hoping we went for slightly different presentations,
Yeah,
but
Desirous.
Phil and I both have the shield. You guys both have the sword. I have the ball and chain.
Only someone could present him in space chicken mode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, if only,
sorry.
right?
Yeah, Christian's gonna do that for us.
I feel like that he'll probably go into space chicken mode at some point and back, right? There you go. But like, I feel like as far as hanging out on the shelf, he's not going to hang out in chicken mode.
No, he's easy enough to transform back and forth, but.
So you can call it kind of boring. The three of us have the same top one, but I think this is such a good sign for the performance of the HasLab team. Like, they just really did it this time, right? Unicron had complaints. Star Saber had me complaining for like 6 hours straight. I believe on camera. It's probably recorded somewhere. And this one just like, I've listened to a couple people who didn't love it like I do, but this is so damn good, right? Like, this is a very well done thing. We talked about it for 2 hours last week or whatever, so I'm not going to go crazy on it, but I just think it's a really good indication that the HasLab team really knew what they were doing this time, put together something that is not a Generations figure, but really, really premium and impressive, and it's just cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. So Desirous made Bobby Skullface's like one of his most disappointing figures of the year. And I just don't understand it. I suppose that, okay, maybe he could have been a little bit cheaper, like 150 instead of 180 or whatever, but like it's just kind of the way of the world now where, all the figures are going up in price. And I think that based on that, like, I'm just not disappointed. Like, he is a solid figure all around, has plenty of accessories. And, like you said, Anna, it's like, I feel like this is a love letter to the fans or to themselves that they were like, hey, we were able to essentially make this without like any restrictions, really.
I mean,
Yeah, I just don't feel like I'll ever
Skullface
want to
is
replace it.
Yeah. Bobby Skullface is the Stephen A. Smith in the Transformers fandom. He'll throw up bombs to get people to click and watch his videos, and he's good at that. But I would disagree with this being a disappointing toy. This is more than I thought it would be. It is the most considerate toy that I think Hasbro has ever done in terms of just all the things they considered with this toy in terms of the playability, the accessories, how all the accessories pack up, the throne, everything about it is just, yes, you could say I want more of this or more of that, but it would be at the expense of something else that they did put in there that I'm very pleased with the trade-offs.
I wish it didn't come with blast effects.
I don't personally like him, but that's because I prefer IDW Deathsaurus. But at the same time, I have him and he's a really good toy. I'm not going to keep it because it's not my Deathsaurus.
Right.
But he is a very good toy. I will not take that away from him.
Yeah. Well, and I know Ryan in the chat says that he thought it was pretty meh as well. And I think that, like, if you don't have any connection to the character, like, I think you definitely think this. But I also think, Catherine, like you said, like, there's a couple other third-party versions of Desirus, too. So, if this doesn't float your boat, there's other versions out there, for you. I just think that this is, pretty neat, and you can see that, like, they tried to pull out all the stops that they could on them, for the price point.
If anybody needs the MMC version, give me a call.
Listen, man, I am a fan of fun toys, and this is a fun toy. It is a lot of just playability, swapping out the accessories, doing different things with the different chests, the different poses you can do with them, put them on his flight stand. Just there's so much fun you can have with this toy. That is why he's on the top of my list for top TFs of the year.
Looking forward to selling mine without the MicroMasters. Oh, I'm keeping those MicroMasters. Those are awesome.
You should, but it's just funny.
Yeah.
Buy the $180 thing for the MicroMasters.
Then you'll get your $180 back and have free MicroMasters.
You're right. It's humorous. That's all.
It is funny.
That's a lady who knows what she wants.
I thought about doing the same thing with Star Saber, just keeping the MicroMasters and selling Star Saber and Leo, because I don't really like either of them.
Yeah, I really hope
I think
it's
good.
I was gonna say, I really hope that Takara or that Hasbro keeps going down the Japanese Transformer route as well, because I feel like they've done a pretty good job recently of all of them. I guess Star Saber, maybe has a couple flaws here or there, but for the most part, I enjoyed them too. It was a fun toy, so yeah.
Well, if you need that G1 Japanese fix and Hasbro's just not quite giving it to you, Iron Factory is about to start putting out their Leo Kaiser, the 6-spot version.
There you go.
Who's the number 6?
Death Cobra, Death Adder.
Okay.
That'll be 7.
Yeah, they're doing the 7, right? They're doing Death Cobra with it. Because the actual team, the Hasbro version was 5.
Right.
The actual team was 6. And the
Death
bonus
Cobra
character
exists.
who doesn't survive long enough to be a part of the team on screen would be number 7.
So yeah, that's coming from Iron Factory. They started the first couple picks started rolling out recently, so we figured those are going to ship soon.
Yeah, your only other option to have them to go with your Deathsaurus is the TFC, which, as I said on the show last week, they actually do scale correctly with Deathsaurus, and they do look right with him as well.
The
The Iron Factory
Combiner
stuff will
Wars
be
one.
too small, but
The Combiner Wars Lio Kaiser is the best one, obviously.
yes,
Yes.
the best
yes,
one because
definitely
it's
the
too
best
small
one.
and inaccurate, and
But doesn't it combine
come with
Death-
Deathsaurus.
Yeah, so there you go.
Guy is Deathsaurus. Yeah, right.
I need to get rid of that somehow.
I think we've wrapped up 2023. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Good year for toys.
It's been a
Good year for
good toy
toys.
year and not as heavy as last year. I feel
Yeah.
like last year was just like so much toys and I got too many. This year, both, I feel like there were literally less toys and I got way less, which is way better.
I think this year there was probably more toys, but more of it was geared towards the movie, which I was not going to be buying. So, you know, a lot of figures I was able to skip this year.
That's a good point, though. I skipped a lot of the movie figures. I got a few just to participate in the movie hype. It was fun. It was over.
Yeah. Well, I will say I feel like I don't know, they were kind of spaced out more evenly too. That for whatever reason, I felt like the last couple years, like December, we just had an avalanche of toys coming in, and it seemed like we got, you know, with wave one of Legacy, you know, showing up, or Legacy whatever United showing up, like, you know, that we're getting that, but for the most part, it's not like there's like 50 toys showing up on your door in December.
Yeah, and the Legacy University stuff has just been like a trickle if you did the pre-orders from some of the websites. I haven't seen anyone talk about them showing up on store shelves yet, so that's I'd very much put those for most folks in the 2024 category.
Right. So.
Yeah, last year if you did your best of 2022 in like mid-December, you'd have like 50 new toys by the time the year actually ended. Like,
yeah,
you know,
that was really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't think the Deathsaurus is just the recency effect. Like, I worried about that when I was making it my own top number one. I was like, is it just recency? Is it just because I just got it? But no, I think it actually was the best toy of the year. Like, it was really impressive.
He's pretty good. He might have made my list if I hadn't opened him today.
Yeah, I think he might have made it into your list if you would have got to play with him more and experience him and figure out how he fits in that darn chair. Because I know you were talking about the chair pains.
He does not fit in the chair.
He does.
And I gave me instructions on to make him fit in the chair, but I haven't had a chance to do it yet.
I am like actually somewhat surprised, and I think it goes to the fact that you're willing to sell your third-party version over in order to keep your mainline version. Like, that doesn't happen all that often. It's not like the MMC one is like a chore to transform.
No, it's not. It's just that I like Transformers Victory. I want the character from Transformers Victory. And that's who this toy is. That toy, as I said last week, is the IDW version cosplaying as the Victory version. And it's just not enough for me, right? It's definitely closer than the Planet X one was, but it's not quite there. So this one came in and I was like, ooh, that's the guy from the cartoon. And he fights this like ridiculous crap looking version of his enemy from the cartoon. So just wish I had a good Star Saber to go with him.
You do. It's great.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But I'm going to try putting some upgrade kits on it to see if I can polish that turd.
The bigger wings and bigger cannons did help for me.
I think they might. So we're going to try it.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us for the last show of the year here. And we'll, I guess, see everyone next year.
Ooh.
Have a happy, safe New Year, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, have fun.